I get a lot of messages from people that watch my YouTube channel. Maybe they've read my book. Maybe they've seen me on Instagram, and they all come to me with this question, especially those that want to upgrade their social life or become the best version of themselves. They come to me with the question of how do I become more interesting? In general, my life is pretty boring, especially during quarantine when we've done literally nothing as a collective. In the world, everyone had to stay at home, and although it was for the best purpose or for the best reasons, a lot of people just lost that interesting factor to them. They feel like they're boring. Well, my friend, I'm giving you the number one rule in order to become more interesting. I've obviously gone through how to become a social magnet in a past video. I'll put the link for that video down in the description below. But I will tell you right now, my number one secret, my number one principle when it comes to being the most interesting person in the room, the person that really just can engage with everyone, the person that really is open, the person that has a lot to say, the person that can really keep a conversation going. So, my friend, if you struggle with these things as I used to before learning this, then my friend, this video is for you. So without further ado, let's crack into this. The number one rule when it comes to becoming interesting is this: be a sponge. Now, if you watched my YouTube videos before, you would know that I constantly say this, be a sponge. And what does it really mean? When I say be a sponge, I mean you should be absorbing information. Like a sponge, if you drop it in water, at least a dry one, would absorb up the water. You as a sponge, as a human being, you should absorb information from around you. Literally, the more you know, the more interesting you become. And if you think about it, if you are a sponge and you're learning from different aspects of your life, from everyone, irrespective to who they are or where they stand in society, you can learn from a broke guy, and you can learn from a rich person, you can learn from a person that's anxious and nervous, and you can also learn from a person that's open and charismatic. Remember this: the most interesting person in the room is not the person that knows a lot about one thing. It is the person that knows a little bit about everything. If you can learn a little bit about a lot of things, you will be able to speak on a lot of different topics. You can learn from other people through learning a little bit about everything. Because I can enter in a room and I can speak to one person about, I don't know, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain and the current developments in that industry, and how they might, the whole industry or the whole market has to be, monetized, or has to be monitored, by some type of authority. Or I can go in to the left and speak about, animal cruelty and veganism to someone else. Or I can go to the right and speak about, jokes and comedy, and I can really just speak about everything if I can have a base knowledge on many of these things. If you want to become a well-rounded individual, you'll have to learn how to absorb different things. You'll have to learn different ways of learning. So I want you to do this. I want you to make it your aim to learn something new every day. I want you to learn something new, whether it's a fact, whether it is something you've learned from a family member, whatever it is. Learn a new thing every day. We have the technology, we have all the world's answers and everything that has been documented in history at the tips of our fingers. We can go on Google and we can search up so many things and we can get so many answers. So what I want you to do is I want you to cultivate a hunger and thirst to know more. Something that I used to do is I used to keep a journal, a book, or some type of a notebook or whatever, even if it's your notes on your phone, of all the interesting things I learned. Now, this may not be a fact, but this may be something that's really something I'm interested in, something that's curious, something that I really, really enjoyed learning. And I keep that in my journal in order to bring it up later, so it makes it easier for me to remember. Something I've actually realized is that if you can come to somebody and speak about something that they know a lot more than you about, then you'll be able to see this like spark in their face. They want to give to you. They want to just offload this information to you. And hey, as humans, we really want to give. Although a lot of us may not feel like it, a lot of us may not be in the position to give, whether it is socially or financially, we really want to be people that give. I mean, that's why if you've ever been in the position where you can tell a really cool joke that everyone would laugh at and you have the confidence to do it, You would just rip it out and you'll feel great after, because you're giving that positive energy and you just letting go. If you can go to somebody and, hey, I know a little bit about Bitcoin, but you seem like you know a lot, they will just feel amazing just telling you more and more about what they interested in. And that will make you by default a more interesting person. So the idea of being a sponge is made out of three different elements. Number one, write down on a note or in your notes 3 things that interest you. This can be broad things like, I don't know, finance, history, geography. It could be literally anything. Don't judge yourself for what interests you, because a lot of us are like, maybe people might not be interested in that. Because when I was younger, I loved rocks. I love rocks still. I love crystals. I had a passion. I wanted to become a gemologist, not a geologist, a gemologist. I wanted to focus really on gems and crystals and quartz and different types of stones and different types of, minerals. But I thought that wasn't very interesting. I thought that wouldn't be a very good thing to speak about. So I always kept it a secret, even though I loved rocks. So don't judge yourself. You really, because it's coming from you, because it's coming from whatever your name is, you are literally enough to make that topic very interesting. So you should, just say it. Be free. Do it, because you're giving. You're not taking, you're giving. So now I want you to take one of those 3 topics and break it down into subsets, smaller topics that you can speak about or you can wrap your head around. So for example, if you chose finances, you can go into like, I don't know, cryptocurrency, stock trading, or you can go into like real estate, or you can go into like, what else is there in finance? I'm really, really bad at finance. Hold on. Marketing, digital marketing. You can go into multiple aspects of the topic. Now, I want you to be honest with yourself, okay? If you chose a subject that you feel like people won't be interested in, something that you're passionate about, but you feel like people won't really be, on with, I want you to know that it is not what you're saying, but it's what you, or the energy, or the nonverbal energy that you're conveying. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can come to you and I can speak to you about peanut butter, right? But I can come enthusiastically, I can come giving, I can come with an energy that is just so loving, so kind, and you will feel compelled to learn more about peanut butter, even though it's not a very interesting topic. There have been numerous studies that show 70 to 90% of our communication as humans is nonverbal. This means that we look for subtle cues in who we communicating with to see whether they're interested or whether they're not. So for example, if I come to you and I speak to you about being interested and I look disinterested, like how do you become interesting? And I look disinterested and low energy, because this whole video right now is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's a bit low energy. It's less, like intense. It's a bit more chill. And with that, the facial expressions that you have, the tonality of your voice, you will be able to tell if this person's interested in the topic, if they're an interesting person in general. I can come up to you and I can be like, hey, you need self-help, you need self-development, I'm basically boring myself, I'm falling asleep myself. Or I can come to you with my facial expressions and I can say, hey, look, you need self-help, you need to grow, you can become the best version of yourself. If you're able to really add that nonverbal cue, those nonverbal, speak loudly, have your back straight. If you're able to speak with your hands, as I do so much, if you can add facial expressions, smiling, frowning, eyes open, curious, if you can add these different facial expressions, you'll be able to look more, or to come across as a more interesting person. Next, I want you to actually go into research mode. I want you to focus on how you can actually learn more about those topics that you wrote down, those 3 topics and their subsets. I want you to really focus in on what you can do to learn more about these things. Now, you have different research sources. You can learn from a book, you can learn from an audiobook, you can learn from a podcast, you can learn from documentaries, you can learn from YouTube videos, you can learn from so many different sources. I mean, who said that the only way of learning something is if you go to a library and you go to a book? You can learn something from TV. You can literally go on the Natural Geographic channel and just watch a documentary about, I don't know, penguins and how penguins mate, or how penguins form societies, or and you learn more about that stuff, and hey, you might become a more interesting person. Something else that I found makes people more interesting, or makes people a bit more alert of what's going on around them, is staying on top of the news. If you're able to stay on top of the news, whether you follow like a news channel or news page on Facebook or Instagram, or whether you download an app, or you watch the news regularly, but try to stay on top of the news. Try and understand exactly what's going on, because that will help you in forming conversations with people in current time, current moments. Like right now, we've had a huge surge of Bitcoin prices, and then they kind of went down, they kind of went out. On the other hand, we have some heartbreaking news on the Taliban taking over Afghanistan, and how it's really affecting the country in general, And on the other hand, you have people speaking in pop culture about how, the the amount of people that are in relationships is dropping, is decreasing from the time of our parents, from the previous generations. Millennials and Gen Zs are the lowest in happiness, the lowest in relationships, and these things really come together. Something else that I found that's really interesting, if you're that type of person, is you can find literally countless free lectures and classes taught by professional academics online on YouTube, from really, really high high level, high standard universities. There are tons of Oxford lectures. There are tons of Harvard lectures. One of my recommendations, if you want to check this out, is for all my entrepreneurs and business savvy people, is how to start a startup. Just go on YouTube, search up how to start a startup. It's like a whole series of videos teaching you from step one to like final step, and it's taught by, I think, the makers of, or the one, like some of the biggest companies. I can't really remember which one specifically, but some of the biggest company CEOs, and they come to the university and they're actually teaching you about these. It's very structured, very well done, and it's actually very extensive with 1 hour, 2 hour videos. So if you really want to learn more about these things, you can check it out on YouTube. And the third and final way for you to become more interesting, for you to become a sponge, is talking to more people. Meeting new people not only lets you get a glimpse into what they know, what's going on in their mind, what's going on in their reality, but it also allows you to experience new things, experience new experiences in general. You'll be able to go through new things that you can add to your repertoire, you can add it to your kit belt, You maybe meet somebody at the beach and you both go surfing. It's like, wow, I remember I went to the skate park and I met one of these skater guys. He was a really cool guy. And literally from that day, he taught me how to do an ollie. And if you're a skater, or if you're anybody that knows anything about skating, you know that the ollie is like the beginner move, but it's like one of the hardest things to do, because the ollie is literally when you pick your board up in the air and you flip it back down. But the thing is, if you want to do any other skate trick or any cool skate tricks, you have to master the ollie. So I was struggling with that for a few months. And in a day, I met this guy. I learned it on every surface, and I felt happy, and that's an experience I'll keep with me always, because it's, something I love doing, skating. Not only that, it also boosts your happiness. Meeting and interacting with new people have been shown by studies, I'll put a photo of that up right now, on how it actually makes people feel happier and more wholesome. When you meet new people, it also helps you to boost your self-confidence, because you're like, hey, I can go out and meet new people. I don't have to be scared of other people. And it also encourages you to leave bad habits or unhealthy habits. I mean, when you meet somebody that is different, somebody that focuses on self-discipline, or maybe you go out to the gym and you meet somebody that is focused on gymming, and he becomes your friend or she becomes your friend, you will be less inclined to eat unhealthy foods. You'll be more focused on going to the gym, and it may help you in the long run. So my friend, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go down and click like and subscribe. And if you want to get more of me, then you can go down to my website and you can click contact me, where you can speak directly to me. The first one is my free ebook. It's called Project Self Mastery, where I can teach you how to go from where you are right now, and every single piece of information you'll need to go to the best place possible. I've had countless people people messaging me on Instagram, on email, on Facebook, on Twitter, just telling me how much this book has actually helped them. And it's not even my huge project. It's just a 102-page book that I brought together, detailing everything they need to know. And it's free, completely free. So why don't you just get it? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess. The second thing I want you to check out is my free personality quiz. If you've ever been curious as to what your personality is, well, at least according to psychology, then go down to the link in the description below, fill in, I think it's 15 questions, very quick, and you will get an instant email with what type of personality you have. So my friend, thank you for watching this video. This has been AJ Lacau.